right, guys, we are live. Oh my Lord. What is up, everybody? How is everybody doing? If you were on Periscope or YouTube, send me a message. Let me know that you're there. This is great. Everyone is piling in. All the familiar faces. Guys, I must apologize. I was a little scrambled getting everything together. But here we are. We are doing it. Living the best life. Right on. Mexico Tours. Is that our friend from Tulum down there? Zach, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Uh-oh. Jennifer says the Periscope is working fine, and she's cracking her knuckles. She is not dealing with any shenanigans over a Periscope, so I would behave if you guys are over there. And she likes to abuse her power. her mod power is she loves abusing, so be careful over there. Well, thank you, Jared. I appreciate that. You know, so guys, I'm going to be trying some new things next week. I am having a good day, Zachary. Guys, I'm going to be doing so I'm going to try to do a couple new things to add to our fun here on every weekday morning at 8:30. You know, coming up with content every day is quite difficult, as there are so many things that I want to talk about, but yet I also don't want to be redundant, and I want it to be fresh, and I want to be excited so that you guys can be excited. You know, and in order to be interesting, you have to be interested, right? So if I come in here and I'm fired up, then I'm going to bust through the screen and bring energy to you guys, and then that's going to fire you guys up. So I still haven't figured it out. I'll be thinking about those things over the weekend. And perhaps we'll bring in a guest every so often, maybe once a week. I'm still putting that together. I'm going to be with AJ putting that together. But thank you guys for tuning in today. It seems, so maybe some of you guys out there who've been up earlier than I have, can you shoot me a message? Is there a potential cure on the horizon? That's what I had seen. I had briefly saw something that there was a bio company, a pharmaceutical company in San Diego, here in lovely California, that just happened to stumble upon some antibodies that could wrap up something. I think this is all brand new. I haven't heard much talk of it. I've only saw a headline. So let's hope for the best here, because I'm just like all of you guys would love for us to get back to some sort of normalcy, and be able to make plans. Have you noticed how difficult it has been for doing any sort of forward thinking with this pandemic wrapping its arms around us? And it's quite interesting. I never realized how much forward thinking I have done until this has happened, where every time I think about where I need to be, what I need to be doing, it's all like it's in the air. No one can reduce a vaccine without performing a required trials. Yeah, we certainly know that. But is this a vaccine, or was this going to be part of a therapeutic cocktail? That was my question. But I guess we'll find out. I mean, if it works, if anything is there, then more news is going to come out about that. Oh, how you doing, Tim? Right on. Thank you for joining us. So we'll see about that. I mean, let's just hope. Very much in the air. Future thinking. Yeah, Christina. I know for myself, I think a lot about where I need to be, what I want to be doing. If I'm putting together a life worth fighting for, this idea that we talked about last week, then in order to be able to do that, I need to project what I want to be doing in 5 years and then backwards engineer the values that I would need to engage in on a daily basis to make it to that life worth fighting for. To be able to do that, I need some runway. I need some forward thinking. It's quite difficult. And I suppose a part of my frustration, and I don't know if you guys are going through this, is that every time I try to think about anything in the future and what I need to be doing and what can I do now to help to realize certain outcomes, I get stuck in this pandemic, but my pandemic. And it's driving me crazy. I can't just sit on the couch and be reactive to how I am feeling in the moment and start dictating my life from a reactive position. I am proactive. Everything in my being is a modded out chimp tech that we've been talking about this week so that I would not live a reactive life, so that I would be living a proactive life. And it's quite difficult to be proactive and think long term and play things out in my mind when I can't put a working model together because pandemic. And it's starting. We've been doing this locked in thing for what? 9 months? 9 weeks now. It's starting to wear thin where it is now, I guess, fully blocking any sort of future forward-thinking vision, and it's starting to annoy me. I don't like to be reactive. Being reactive puts you in a position of just trying to tread water. I don't like to tread water. I like to be able to get closer to my dreams and goals. Everything. Are you sure you're just drinking coffee? Always, my friend. For everything that I have done and working in self-development, it has been to be better at proactive of being able to self-actualize, what takes forward thinking. Every decision that we make in this moment, if you project it to what it compounds moving forward, then you are able to put in plans so that you can be consistent. Take your show on the road. I would love to. Well, you certainly have to find multiple paths, Magic Piper, but unfortunately, a lot of those paths and how we want to be consistent and we want to move forward are contingent on what your future looks like. So one of the things that I've been dealing with is also that thought of, so I don't know if you guys have dealt with this. I'm sure Jennifer has. How many of you guys have thought about your diet or your workout or your healthy living in this pandemic, being on lockdown, slowly having your resolve being chipped away like, why not pig out? You're not going to be seeing anybody. You're not going anywhere. You have no social life. There has been multiple times where I have said that to myself, but alas, I can't. My habits that I have built up until this point will certainly not allow me to do that. Jennifer says every day, absolutely. It's like, why bother? But all the habits that I have built, and I will tell you this, let's say tomorrow I decided to eat a whole pizza just for the hell of it. I say to myself, screw it. I'm just going off. Do you know how unbelievably awful I would feel after that? If I do enjoy licorice. Well, I don't know about you, Jennifer, but I would just go for the licorice. And red vines are the best. Just saying. But the amount of guilt that I would be dealing with afterwards would be overwhelming. And so it would be at that, I wouldn't be able, I would beat myself up over it. So I already know that about myself. That's how that works. All right. So let's get into some content, guys. Sorry to be rambling. As I mentioned, I'm really excited, and we'll do some new things next week. Chantel, 1984, welcome. It's good to see you. All right. So the last 2 days, and if you haven't seen the last 2 days of videos, I have laid out arguments for 2 main rules and guidelines that you would need in order to restrict self-analysis to be beneficial rather than it getting out of control, rather than it turning on you and you beating yourself up. This is the idea. How many of you work in a job where you're analytical, where you're forward thinking, where you're looking for problems that could arise or problems that are already there? I made the argument that if you do that job 40, 50, 60 hours a week, then that same lens you will use on your own personal life and issues and problems. Which means that if you have an analytical problem-solving lens, if you're using this engineering lens, this analytical thinking lens on yourself, it has a tendency for you to beat yourself up, to get in a circle in which you look for a problem, you see the problem, you emotionally tear yourself up about the problem, and that cycle spins. You need to implement rules, guidelines that keep your mind, that keep the self-analysis focused and directed. And I laid those rules out in the last 2 videos. Rule number 1, if you guys remember, rule number 1 is the truth at any price, including the price of your life, because everyone will lie to you, including yourself. If that is true, which I laid out the argument of why it is, then rule number 2 must be put in place. Look at the things underneath your nose as if you've never seen them before and proceed from there. Why? Because everyone will lie to you, including yourself. Therefore, reality of yourself and your surroundings is subjective, and you have to find your own truth. Therefore, you can't take anything for granted, and all thoughts must be scrutinized. If you want a larger explanation of both of those rules, look at the last 2 videos. They are all archived on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. All right. Now that those 2 rules are installed, what are the lies that we might tell ourselves? What are the human and reality hallucinations or illusions that we get caught up in that could guide self-analysis in the wrong direction? Well, those are called cognitive distortions, and we all do it. I laid out an argument for how reality is going to be subjective. It is important to follow and find your truth to ground you. That truth needs to be agreed upon with you. You have to decide that. If you do not decide what your reality will be, then it will be given to you by the influential sources that you have surrounded yourself with, which is why your social circle is so important. If you have people in your life who have a low resolution of reality, then you will have a low resolution of reality. If you have people and influence around you that have a high resolution of life, a well-grounded resolution of life, then yours is going to be well-grounded. And you will have company that will back up and solidify and give you data points that back up a higher resolution of reality. I laid all these arguments out in the last two videos, Wednesday and Thursday. So now, this is why the idea of philosophy is so important, that you understand and build your reality that has utility for you. Now, there are many different cognitive distortions, and these are the most popular. And they're also, not only are they the most popular, we all do them. They're well documented. And now I want to go through each one of these, and I want you guys in the audience to raise your hand, right? Give me a hand wave or some hearts. You guys can give me hearts when I read off a cognitive distortion that you buy into, that you get tricked by. Remember, this is not other people tricking you. These are your own illusions. These are your own cognitive distortions. Tally is already waving. Yes, we all get stuck. And I will even point out the cognitive distortions that I get tripped up with. All right? Once you understand these, you will know if you could put a flag where you buy into these cognitive distortions. I will also tell you that right behind the cognitive distortion that you have put together to protect yourself, yes, right on Jared's how about horns. Certainly, my friend. If you identify a cognitive distortion, then you will have found behind it what is called circular thinking, which is a flawed thought pattern that keeps you stuck in a loop. If you are stuck in a loop, you can't look at problems linearly. You will look at them as in the problem reinforces the problem. So how does a circular thought work? Well, you get upset, so you do X, action X. Action X upsets you, so you feel bad. You feel bad, so you participate in action X. That is circular thinking. It is an action that are tied, that is actions and thoughts tied with your emotions that reinforce you feeling bad. The only way to escape that is to lay the problem, the thought and actions out linearly so it doesn't reinforce it. The only way to do that is find the clasp on the circular thought that is holding it together. The clasp is the cognitive distortion. All right, Tom Marcus, you're overwhelmed. If you watch the last two videos from Wednesday and Friday, they're on you, or Wednesday and Thursday, they're on YouTube. This whole argument is laid out. This is great stuff. I highly suggest it. Once you find the clasp that holds the circular thought together, you can look at it linearly, and then you can work out the problem. Are you guys ready? Cognitive distortions. Here we go. Number one, all or nothing thinking. You see things in black or white categories, so if your performance falls short of perfect, you see yourself as a total failure. That is a win-lose. I won or I lost. I figured it out or I didn't. You know, in my household, my dad had a saying, you'll either figure it out or you'll quit. Those were the two binary thinking. Now, how many of you fall into all or nothing thinking? It's black or it's white. You either won or you lost. You either done it well or you failed. Notice that there's no in between for nuanced thinking of learning. Learning is in there. Yes, absolutely. I used to. I had a girlfriend who used to yell at me about my black and white thinking. And she was like, listen, you always do this. You have binary thinking. I'm like, no, I don't. And she goes, look at your closet. And of course, my closet was divided between white shirts and black shirts. And I was like, wow, ha, ha, ha. Like, checkmate, I guess. She got me. And I specifically went out and bought a red shirt and stuck it in the middle just to upset her. All right, cognitive distortion number 2, overgeneralization. You see a single negative event as a never-ending pattern of defeat. See how that perpetuates? You see a single negative event as a never-ending pattern of defeat. So there you have an event, it didn't go well, and you dwell on it, and it clouds everything else. How many have gotten stuck on that one? Number 3, mental filter. You pick out a single negative event and dwell on it exclusively so that your vision of reality becomes darkened, like a drop of ink that discolors a beaker of water. Disqualifying the positive. You dismiss, for whatever reason, certain things don't count. Therefore, you could hold a negative belief that will be contradicted by other evidence. I used to do that one all the time. You see this in reality all the time when you hand people evidence, data that goes against the belief. They disregard it. So now, if you have a negative thought about yourself and someone shows you a win, then you ignore that win because it doesn't fit with your narrative. If it doesn't fit with your narrative, you have to change the story. Have you heard of the chimp paradox? No, I have. Next one, jumping to conclusions. You make a negative interpretation even though there is no definite facts to convincingly support your conclusion. So therefore, we are jumping to conclusions. We are grabbing things out of the air that support a negative outcome. Once again, magnification. This is where you blow up the little things so that is all you can see, or you shrink the good things until they become nothing. Number 7, emotional. Jennifer's guilty of mind reading. Yes, absolutely. Emotional reasoning. This was one of mine. I feel it, therefore it must be true. So I have a bad feeling about something, therefore it must be bad. Listen, your trauma, drama, excitement, joy, happiness, sadness, those feelings emanate from the same place, your gut. And you only label what that feeling, what you think it is. This is why anxiety and excitement can be exchanged. Shoulda statements. I shoulda, I oughta, I must. There's no woulda, coulda, shouldas. There's either you did it or you don't do it. Okay? Anyone who's fitness people understand that one. You always have clients. Jennifer's a fitness expert. Everyone has clients who has the, well, I could do that or I should do that. We all know what we should do. Shouldas are the worst. They are the worst. So we have to exclude those from vocabulary. There's either just doing or not doing. Labeling or mislabeling. This is when you stick upon something negative happens to you, and then you label yourself as a loser or a dummy, and then you beat yourself up. You create a scare man, you create a scarecrow of yourself, and so you can kick its ass. And then personalization. You see yourself as the cause of some external negative event that you are primarily not responsible for, and then you attach yourself to it. Sports fans know this one because it works in the positive as well. You go to the fridge to get a beer, and now your team scores. Now you're watching the game from the kitchen. Boom. So those are the 10 most common cognitive distortions that you have to be careful, because they are the clasp to circular thinking. If you want to look at a problem linearly so you can work through it, you have to find the clasp that holds it together. If it continues to perpetuate itself, you're going to be in that loop. All right. Guys, I want all of you to have an amazing weekend. And if you love today's lesson and you want more of that, check out the Art of Charm Communication Accelerator. It has all of our best bits from our live programs, online training programs, and all the expert guests that we have had on the podcast in the last 14 years. Where can you find it? In the link tree. And you can, it is in the Instagram link tree, and it is in the Twitter bio, and it is also in the YouTube descriptions. You can find it all there. Check it out. It is great. We've put a lot of effort into it, and let's talk about it. So thank you, Jared Allen. Let's go through the comments, see how everyone's doing today. Wow, we got a lot of comments. Much in the air. Yes, it is difficult. I am finding I can move forward, but slowly, trying to take it to my advantage. Absolutely, Ronald. I agree with you 100%. Think about using that pace to slowly make our way. It just sucks when you have the ability, or you've built up the tradition, the responsibility of looking forward and not being able to do that. Take your show on the road. I would love to take it on the road. We'd have fun, wouldn't we? I would need all you guys to go on the road with me. I'd be nervous if it wasn't for you guys. I feel you in that guilt. My homework is out. Nothing compared to my own gym workout, but it keeps that exercise guilt at bay. Absolutely, Magic Piper. I would love to go to the gym. Unfortunately, I can't. I got 2 kettlebells that I work with in my living room, and that's got to do it. And I get out and do some walking and do some exercise in the yard as well. Thank you for all the hearts, everybody. You guys are awesome. Dealing with this trouble every day. Definitely checking those out. Yes, you should. Have you heard of the chimp paradox now? I will check into it. Is that the same as chimp tech that I had been talking about? Check out the chimp paradox, my friend. And thank you very much for the live stream. Have an awesome day. Well, thank you, Tom Parkin. I will check it out. And if you want to hear my definition of chimp tech, the last 2 videos I laid out those arguments, which go in today. I will try not to string these together to make them go moving forward, to make them a singular topic and focus. I got a little bit off track this week, and I'm going to put in some my own guardrails to keep these shows and days singular. But I kind of wanted to follow up with you guys. Thanks, brother. Well, thank you, Ronald. Was you the guy who had the rock and roll polka thing, or polka yashu? I believe I checked out your Instagram. It was rad, if I remember you correctly. I remember it was pretty rocking. I do remember that. Done and done. Well, thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate that. Guys, have a killer weekend. Check out the Art of Charm Communication Accelerator. You can get it in the Instagram link tree. You can get it in the Twitter bio. You can get it in the YouTube description. And I will see you guys on Monday. Yes, children's music. That's right. Yeah, that was rad. Awesome, Ronald. Well, hey, and I'm glad you were able to make it. You guys have a great weekend.